Joining me now, Senator Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota, who's one of the leading voices on AI in the Senate, sits on the Commerce, Science, and Transportation Committee. Glad to have you here.
Thank you, Laura. Great to be back.
I mean, thinking about this, how concerned are you the United States is now allowing this sale to China?
Well, this is unbelievable to me because this is an administration who on one hand says, well, you know, we shouldn't have to comply with all these AI rules that the states are putting forward because there's no, and then on the other hand, they're selling these sophisticated chips. These aren't like old-fashioned chips that you can get anywhere. These are some of the most sophisticated chips that we make. We have an edge right now in technology. We have an edge on AI, but they are deciding to sell this to China and then taking a cut for the administration, which puts them right in the middle of what should be a business situation, capitalism. But this is the kind of stuff that they're
doing. Or the
doing.
American people, they say.
Well, okay, but they're good point. It's going back to the government, and that's what they're doing. But they're literally cutting business deals with a private company in order to sell their stuff, allow them to sell their stuff to China, something that didn't happen before. And that is, for us, when you look at some of our edges, the development, the government focus that has gone into this for years, and the development of our technology industry, as well as all the incredible minds that went to getting this done. And now we're just selling it off to China. And in their own words, those weren't my words that you just had up on the screen. Those were the words of the Trump Justice Department, who said this shortly before this deal was announced.
And yet I've been hearing those who support it. They would say the U.S. is getting money, that 25% cut. You've articulated why that's insufficient, and that it might be better to keep China hooked, so to speak, on our chips as a way to disincentivize them creating something more advantageous. Do you buy that?
Okay, so have we ever seen this where China gets copies of our stuff and then they just create their own stuff? Usually it involves stealing various blueprints or finding out exactly how we make things, and then they do it themselves. So I just don't buy that. No.
Well, let's talk about this because you've been especially concerned with this new executive order that the president has been contemplating and talking about. And in it, he intends to sign, which would effectively replace state laws regulating AI, which you are a proponent of because, on the one hand, states are probably more well equipped to be able to address the changing technology, to say the least, and they've already had their legislatures talk about this. And you write about it saying that it should concern every American to regulate with one universal set of rules. Explain to the audience why you think that a universal system is more problematic than a patchwork.
So what I'm really concerned about is the president thinking that by executive order, he can just overturn what states have done. And I want to make clear, we'll see what's in this order that he has said he's going to put out. But we're talking here about laws that are protecting kids, things that red states have done, not just blue state governors, people like Governor Cox in Utah, or what they've done in Florida, or what they have done in Alabama. And some states have gotten involved and said you can't do deep fake political ads. So I actually would like Congress to act. I'd like to see a set of laws instead of a patchwork of laws. I get this. Although the states often can get ahead of things, laboratories of democracy, as Justice once said. But my idea here is that the tech companies have been stopping the development of federal laws. It's the simplest things like labeling AI-created videos when they're not the real candidate. You don't know who it is, or taking down the sale of drugs and other things that have been going on the internet. I'm talking about illegal drugs, or the resistance we got even for the bill that Ted Cruz and I ultimately passed. About taking down non-consensual porn and AI-created porn. They resist things. Sometimes they agree to one thing and then another company resists, and it's just been complete institutional inertia. So what I'd like to see is the president say, okay, we're going to work with leaders from both parties. We're going to actually put out some safety measures and rules of the road for AI, because AI can unleash great things, cures for rare diseases and the like, but not if all the bad is what everyone sees, scamming grandmas and creating videos that are fake, taking people's voices, taking their likenesses. Right now, that's what Americans are seeing. Kids that are committing suicide, sadly, because they're coached by a chat box. Yeah.
Speaking of children, I mean, unlike this country, Australia has been successful in at least banning social media for kids under the age of 16. I'm sure you've heard about this. And you supported a bill that had restrictions, but it was for kids who were under the age of 13. Australia has 16. It did stall in the House, what you've actually proposed. What do you think of this law in Australia? And do you think, as some critics have said, that this will encourage children to possibly go to the darker sides of the internet looking for an alternative they can access?
So I think it's worth trying things like this. In another country, our laws are different. It would be harder to do here. But what we should do is put more kids controls in place. And my colleagues, we have tried so hard. We passed bills through the Senate with nearly unanimous votes, and then they sit over in the House. But the other thing that is an aggressive move that I think we have to make now is to repeal this 30-year-old law. It's called Section 230 that bans anyone from suing these companies. So I personally think when you have the biggest companies the world has ever known, that they're going to be able to figure out with their own money how to get their act together if they are liable for getting kids hooked on fentanyl or the various things that we see going on the internet. So what I think would work here would be that. But
Is there support for that? Is there support for that?
Well, there is Senator Graham and Senator Durbin. I'm on this bill. There's just been growing support for this on both sides of the aisle. I'm curious. I think Senator Graham's going to make a try at it on the 30th anniversary because they just won't work with us on these safety bills. So I think the best way would be to allow the market to, like anything else, if a washing machine blows up in front of you, you can sue.
Right.
If a plane comes off a door comes off a plane, people can sue. That is the way companies make things safer. And these guys, these laws were set up for the tech companies when they were just little companies in a garage. And now the biggest companies the world has ever seen. So that's how I would go on this right now. But I'm very curious to see in a good way what happens with the Australian law because these kids are it's ruining many of their lives. They're getting hooked on it. They're just losing the ability to interact. And then, of course, at its worst, they're getting exposed to content that they should never see.
A true case study we'll all be watching. Senator
Yes.
Klobuchar, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Laura.